two neighboring countries, bound together by geography, linked by centuries of shared history, separated by decades of war. For generations, Ethiopia and Eritrea have stood at the center of one of Africa's most complex geopolitical relationships. They have fought together. They have fought against one another. They have signed peace agreements. And they have once again become the subject of regional concern. Today, many people ask a simple question. If tensions were ever to escalate again, which country has the stronger military? The answer is far more complicated than counting soldiers or comparing tanks. Military power is not only about weapons. It is about geography, economics, leadership, technology, industrial capacity, logistics, and the ability to sustain a nation through prolonged crises. In this documentary, we compare Ethiopia and Eritrea's military capabilities, explore the history that shaped them, and explain why this relationship continues to influence the future of the Horn of Africa. Long before modern borders were drawn, the peoples living across today's Ethiopia and Eritrea were connected through trade, migration, culture, and empire. One of the most influential civilizations in the region was the Kingdom of Aksum, which flourished roughly between the 1st and 7th century CE. Centered in what is now northern Ethiopia and Eritrea, Aksum became one of the great powers of the ancient world, trading with the Roman Empire, Arabia, Persia, and India. Its ports along the Red Sea connected inland Africa to international commerce, while its rulers issued their own coins and adopted Christianity in the 4th century, making Aksum one of the earliest Christian states in history. Centuries later, European colonial competition reshaped the region. In the late 19th century, Italy established the colony of Eritrea along the Red Sea coast. Colonial authorities built roads, railways, ports, and modern urban infrastructure, particularly in Asmara and Marsawa. These investments left Eritrea with a distinctive architectural legacy that remains visible today. After Italy's defeat in World War II, Britain administered Eritrea until the early 1950s. In 1952, the United Nations approved a federation between Eritrea and Ethiopia under the Ethiopian crown. The arrangement granted Eritrea a degree of autonomy, including its own parliament and administrative institutions. However, the federation proved short-lived. In 1962, Emperor Haile Selassie formally incorporated Eritrea into Ethiopia as a province. Many Eritreans viewed this move as the loss of their promised autonomy, and armed resistance gradually emerged. What followed was one of Africa's longest wars of independence. For 3 decades, Eritrean liberation movements fought successive Ethiopian governments. The conflict endured through the imperial era, the military government known as the Derg, and periods of famine, Cold War rivalry, and profound political upheaval. In 1991, Eritrean forces entered Asmara, effectively ending the war. 2 years later, following a United Nations supervised referendum, Eritrea became an internationally recognized independent state. For a brief moment, the future appeared hopeful. The leaders of the two countries spoke of cooperation, open borders, and economic partnership. But peace would not last. The optimism of the early 1990s gradually gave way to disagreements over trade, currency, and the exact location of their shared border. One small town became the symbol of a much larger dispute: Badme. Although geographically modest, the area lay within a broader stretch of territory where colonial-era maps and administrative boundaries were interpreted differently by each side. In May 1998, clashes around Badme escalated into a full-scale interstate war. What followed was one of the largest conventional conflicts in Africa in recent decades. Both countries mobilized hundreds of thousands of troops. Large-scale trench systems stretched across the border. Artillery duels, mechanized assaults, and airstrikes caused widespread destruction. By the time fighting ended in 2000, tens of thousands of soldiers had been killed, and hundreds of thousands of civilians had been displaced. Families on both sides experienced profound loss, while the economic costs set back development for years. An international boundary commission later ruled on the disputed border, awarding Badme to Eritrea. However, implementation remained contentious. and for nearly 2 decades the frontier remained heavily militarized despite the formal end of active combat. The conflict left a lasting legacy. Both governments continued to invest heavily in defense. Military readiness became deeply embedded in national security planning. Public perceptions of the neighboring country were shaped by years of confrontation. Although a landmark peace agreement in 2018 formally ended the state of war, the legacy of mistrust did not disappear overnight. Regional developments, including the conflict in northern Ethiopia and shifting alliances in the Horn of Africa, have continued to influence relations between the two countries. Although Ethiopia and Eritrea share a common military history dating back decades, their armed forces have evolved in very different directions. Today, they reflect two distinct national priorities. Ethiopia, with a population exceeding 130 million people, has developed one of Africa's largest conventional armed forces. Its military is designed to protect a vast country that borders 6 neighboring states and faces multiple internal and regional security challenges. Eritrea, by contrast, has a population of around 4 million people. Its military doctrine is based on a different philosophy. Rather than projecting power across a large territory, Eritrea has focused on maintaining a highly mobilized force capable of defending its borders quickly if necessary. These different approaches have shaped everything from recruitment to military spending. Ethiopia's armed forces. The Ethiopian National Defense Force consists primarily of 2 branches: the Ground Force and the Ethiopian Air Force. Although Ethiopia lost direct access to the sea after Eritrea became independent in 1993, discussions about rebuilding naval capabilities through partnerships have continued in recent years. The Ethiopian military has also participated in numerous international peacekeeping missions. Its soldiers have served under African Union and United Nations mandates in countries including Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia. These deployments have given many officers valuable operational experience beyond Ethiopia's borders. That experience has influenced training, leadership, and operational planning. Eritrea's armed forces. Eritrea's armed forces follow a different model. The country has maintained a system of national service for many years. Supporters argue that it strengthens national defense and preparedness. Critics have raised concerns about the length and nature of compulsory service. Regardless of perspective, the system has allowed Eritrea to maintain a relatively large military establishment compared with its population. Military readiness is deeply integrated into national planning. Training emphasizes discipline, self-reliance, rapid mobilization, and operating in mountainous terrain. Unlike many countries that rely heavily on technological superiority, Eritrea has traditionally focused on preparing personnel to fight effectively under difficult conditions. Many people assume military power begins with numbers. And in one sense, they are correct. A larger population generally provides a larger pool of potential recruits. This is where Ethiopia enjoys one of its greatest advantages. Its population is among the largest in Africa. That means, in theory, Ethiopia can mobilize significantly more personnel over time than Eritrea. But numbers alone rarely determine victory. History offers many examples where smaller militaries successfully defended themselves against larger opponents. Terrain, leadership, training, logistics, and morale often matter just as much as manpower. Eritrea's defense planning has long reflected this reality. Its strategy has focused less on matching larger countries soldier for soldier, and more on ensuring that mobilized forces can respond rapidly to threats. Modern warfare has changed dramatically. Today, control of the air can influence almost every aspect of military operations. Aircraft provide surveillance, rapid transportation, close air support, and long-range strike capability. In this area, Ethiopia generally possesses the stronger capability. Its air force operates fighter aircraft, transport aircraft, helicopters, and increasingly makes use of unmanned aerial systems. Recent conflicts demonstrated how drones can improve reconnaissance and precision strike capabilities when integrated into broader military planning. The growing use of drones has transformed military thinking around the world. Instead of relying exclusively on expensive fighter aircraft, many countries now combine traditional aviation with remotely operated systems capable of surveillance and precision targeting. For countries with limited defense budgets, this technological shift has become increasingly important. Eritrea also maintains an air force, although it is generally regarded as smaller, with more limited modernization compared with Ethiopia. Even so, military planners emphasize that aircraft alone cannot determine the outcome of a conflict. Air power must be supported by logistics, intelligence, communications, and effective ground forces. Without those elements, advanced aircraft can struggle to achieve strategic objectives. Military analysts often describe geography as a country's most permanent strategic advantage. Unlike equipment, it cannot be bought. Unlike alliances, it cannot easily change. Both Ethiopia and Eritrea possess landscapes that strongly influence military planning. Ethiopia's enormous size provides strategic depth. If conflict occurs in one region, the country still retains extensive territory behind the front lines. However, that same size creates enormous logistical challenges. Moving troops, fuel, food, medical supplies, and equipment across vast distances requires an extensive transportation network. Every kilometer increases cost. Every mountain slows movement. Every damaged bridge complicates logistics. Eritrea presents a different picture. Its territory is smaller, but much of it is mountainous. Steep escarpments, narrow valleys, and rugged highlands naturally favor defenders familiar with the terrain. Military historians have repeatedly observed that mountain warfare is among the most demanding forms of combat. Armored vehicles move more slowly, supply lines become vulnerable, and small units positioned on elevated ground can often monitor key routes. Geography alone cannot determine the outcome of a conflict, but it shapes every military decision, from where forces deploy to how supplies move and how commanders plan operations. Military strength in the 21st century is no longer measured solely by the number of soldiers or armored vehicles. Technology has transformed the battlefield. Around the world, militaries increasingly depend on satellites, drones, electronic communications, cyber capabilities, precision-guided weapons, and real-time intelligence. For countries with limited defense budgets, investing in technology can sometimes provide greater strategic value than simply increasing troop numbers. In recent years, Ethiopia has placed growing emphasis on military modernization. During the conflict in northern Ethiopia, unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly known as drones, became an important component of military operations. These systems were used alongside conventional forces for reconnaissance and, according to multiple public reports, strike missions. The experience demonstrated how relatively affordable technology can influence modern warfare when combined with intelligence and command coordination. However, technology alone is never decisive. Every advanced military system depends on trained operators, reliable maintenance, secure logistics, and accurate information. A sophisticated aircraft grounded by maintenance problems offers little advantage. Likewise, an expensive drone cannot replace experienced leadership or effective planning. Eritrea has followed a different path. Its defense priorities have traditionally focused more on readiness, organization, and personnel than on rapid technological expansion. Rather than pursuing large-scale procurement programs, Eritrea has emphasized maintaining a force capable of responding quickly to security threats using familiar terrain and established defensive planning. This reflects two contrasting philosophies. Ethiopia has increasingly integrated new technologies into its military. Eritrea has concentrated on preparedness, discipline, and defensive resilience. No discussion of today's military balance is complete without examining the conflict in northern Ethiopia that began in 2020. The war became one of Africa's most devastating conflicts in recent decades. It involved the Ethiopian National Defense Force, regional armed groups, and Eritrean forces at different stages of the conflict. The fighting demonstrated several important realities. First, Modern conflicts are rarely decided quickly. Even well-equipped militaries can face enormous challenges when operating across difficult terrain against determined opponents. Second, logistics often determine success. Fuel, food, medical supplies, communications, transportation. These are often more important than the number of tanks or artillery pieces. History repeatedly shows that armies can struggle if supply lines fail. Third, modern warfare extends beyond the battlefield. Economic resilience, diplomatic relationships, international support, and public confidence all influence a country's ability to sustain military operations. The conflict also carried a heavy humanitarian cost. Millions of civilians were affected by displacement, disrupted services, and food insecurity. This serves as an important reminder that military comparisons should never lose sight of the human consequences of war. Behind every statistic are families, communities, and lives permanently changed. One of the most significant strategic issues shaping the relationship between Ethiopia and Eritrea today is access to the Red Sea. Before Eritrea's independence in 1993, Ethiopia possessed direct access to the sea through Eritrean ports. Following independence, Ethiopia became the world's most populous landlocked country. Today, the overwhelming majority of Ethiopia's international trade moves through neighboring Djibouti. While this arrangement has generally functioned, Ethiopian leaders have repeatedly emphasized the importance of diversifying maritime access through peaceful negotiation and regional cooperation. For Eritrea, its coastline represents one of its greatest strategic assets. Stretching for more than 1,000 kilometers along the Red Sea, Eritrea occupies an important position near one of the world's busiest maritime corridors. Its ports at Mansour and Assab have long held both commercial and strategic significance. Because of this geography, developments involving ports, shipping routes, and regional diplomacy often attract considerable international attention. The Red Sea is not only important for Ethiopia and Eritrea. It is a critical waterway for global trade connecting Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. As a result, stability in this region affects far more than the Horn of Africa. So, which country has the stronger military? The answer depends entirely on how military strength is defined. If we compare economic resources, Ethiopia possesses a much larger economy. If we compare population, Ethiopia has a significantly larger recruitment base. If we examine air capabilities, open-source assessments generally place Ethiopia ahead in terms of the size and modernization of its air arm. Yet military capability is never measured by equipment alone. Eritrea's emphasis on mobilization, defensive planning, and operating in mountainous terrain reflects a different strategic model, one shaped by its geography, population, and historical experience. Ultimately, comparing military strength is not about declaring a winner. Each country's armed forces were developed to meet different national security needs. What history consistently demonstrates is that conflict between neighbors carries immense costs. The Ethiopia-Eritrea border war, and later conflicts affecting the wider region, illustrate how decades of development can be disrupted by violence, while civilians bear the greatest burden. For both countries, lasting security depends not only on military readiness but also on dialogue, diplomacy, and regional cooperation. The Horn of Africa sits at the crossroads of Africa, the Middle East, and global shipping routes. Its future will be shaped as much by political decisions and economic partnerships as by military capabilities. Understanding the history and strategic realities of Ethiopia and Eritrea is therefore not simply about comparing armed forces. It is about understanding one of the most important geopolitical relationships on the African continent. Thank you for watching. If you found this documentary informative, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more in-depth documentaries exploring Africa's history, geopolitics, culture, and global affairs. We'd also love to hear your perspective. What role do you think diplomacy should play in shaping the future of the Horn of Africa? Share your thoughts in the comments, and join us in the next documentary. Until next time, thank you for watching.